Oh hi, I didn't see you there. Sorry, I was just doing some paperwork and listening to some real awesome tunes. You know, sometimes a soundtrack for a game can be really make or break. You know, music is one of the most important yet overlooked aspect of a lot of games. Sure, sometimes it's really cool to put a really popular song in your game, but in all honesty, it takes away from the total creative aspect. There are a lot of games that I played in my life where the soundtrack is make or break. Sometimes if your gameplay sucks, a really good soundtrack can help people think that your game is actually better than it is. I'm looking at you, Sonic the Hedgehog developers, but in all seriousness, the music in a game is one of the most memorable experiences for me. Odds are, if your game doesn't have a very good soundtrack, I'm probably not going to want to play it years down the road. That's why I generally tend to stick to the older games. Since the developers didn't have the technology to make their games look amazing, they focused their efforts more so on making them sound amazing. A lot of current generation game developers will just go and buy a license to a song instead of actually writing their own music, and I really think they could benefit a lot from writing music specific to their game. Now, starting off, this is a top 15 list, and since that's such an awkward number to fit into one video, I decided to split it into two. This video will include numbers 11 through 15. The next video will include numbers 1 through 10. I generally tried to stick to one song per game, but there was one game in particular that I could not cut just because of how amazing I think it is. In addition, I would like to give honorable mention to some songs. These didn't make the top 15 because either I already had a song from that game, or it just didn't make the cut. Either way, these are all amazing songs, including the one playing right now, called Your Name Please from Earthbound. In addition to that song, these are the other honorable mentions. Windy and Company, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Nintendo 64 version. Theme of DCMC, Mother 3. Green Forest, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, GameCube version. Titania Macbeth, Star Fox 64, Nintendo 64 version. Ecruteak City, Pokemon Gold, Game Boy Color version. Mining Melancholy, Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest, Super Nintendo version. In a Snowbound Land, Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy Kong's Quest, Super Nintendo version. Piranha Plant Lullaby, Super Mario 64, Nintendo 64 version. And finally, Frantic Factory, Donkey Kong 64. These are all amazing songs, and I highly recommend listening to all of them if you have the time. Now, without further ado, here are my top 15 favorite video game songs. Number 15! Starting off this list is quite possibly the most ridiculous song I've ever heard in a video game. That's right, this is Pooh. It's no surprise to most people by now that Conker's Bad Fur Day is one of the most ridiculous games out there. But this just... What?! There's farting everywhere! There's poo running down the walls! It's perfect! The first time I heard this song, I absolutely died laughing. I kid you not, rolling on the floor in tears laughing. Although this game was frustratingly hard at times, it's definitely worth playing for this song alone. That priceless laugh that I had my first time playing this game is what rounds this song off at the number 15 spot. Number 14. Coming up at number 14 is definitely the most gut-wrenching song on this list. This theme that plays in the Chow Garden actually gives me butterflies in my stomach, and I have a good idea why. When we were kids, me and my sister used to play in the Chow Garden with our Chow all the time. Like, I'm talking 500-hour minimum. The only reason this song is even on this list because it's literally a 3-minute loop that I'm amazed didn't drive me crazy after all the time I spent listening to it. Also, what the hell is Eggman saying when he pets the Chow? Is it a mating call or something? Cause, dude, that thing's like 1/50th your size. It's a little creepy. Number 13. Is it Christmas? Well, unless you're watching this on December 25th for some reason, no. But I wouldn't blame you if you thought that. Frosty Village from Diddy Kong Racing is one of those songs that really gets you in a good mood every time you listen to it. I mean, try as you might, you cannot be sad while listening to this song. Okay, maybe I can. Either way, there's no doubt that this is one of those songs that really captures the winter atmosphere and immerses you in the game. That's right, I totally am the giant anthropomorphized squirrel driving in a go-kart with terrible brakes. All shall now bow down to me. Number 12. This next song is one that's gotten me not one, but 2 third-party copyright notices on YouTube, more commonly known by me as the Leaving Outset song. This is just one of those songs that screams adventure, because the second you hear those gongs at the start of the game, you know you're in for one hell of an adventure. I know I sure as hell thought that. This is also a really touching scene where you see Link saying goodbye to the one and only home he's ever known and loved. The music backs off a little bit, and then he sees his grandma, who raised him as a baby, saying goodbye on her porch, and he just goes and waves his arms like a madman. It's one of those musical pieces that fits so well with the cutscene, it gets me every time. Number 11. The Donkey Kong Country trilogy is one of those series just with a ridiculously good soundtrack. There were so many songs from just Donkey Kong Country 3 alone that I could have chosen to be on this list, like Northern Cremasphere, Hot Pursuit, or Rockface Rumble, but in the end, I just had to go with Waterworld. I mean, just listen to how beautiful and melancholy this song is. It's so ambient, and it captures the atmosphere of the water levels perfectly. The water levels in this game aren't happy like the ones in Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. They're a struggle of despair and darkness to find your way to the end of this desolate, seemingly never-ending oblivion. They make you feel so bad for the Kongs. I mean, you take a toddler out of his home and force him to rescue his cousin's boyfriend and cousin's boyfriend's uncle. Yeah. On top of that, they're literally drowning their underwater for so long. I mean, look at this, there's no air anywhere. Except at the end of the levels, of course. Overall, a beautiful yet grim song that perfectly captures the grim atmosphere is what takes the number 11 spot. That's all for now, but be sure to check out part 2 for numbers 10 through 1 when it's done. Be sure to check out my channel for other cool videos like Let's Plays and vlogs. I even did a top 10 video of my favorite games of all time. Go on, check it out!